Good morning, everyone. My name is Terry Shores, and I'm the Executive Director of NorCal CCIM. We're glad you are all here to join us today. Let me review a few things about the chapter real quickly while other people sign on. This is the current leadership of the chapter, the officers. Helen Chong in the center is president. Aziz Khatri is past president. Tim Tran will be president in January. Tim Tukowski is treasurer. Doug Dansfield, secretary. And Teddy Swang is technology. This is what the team lineup looks like for 2022. Tim Tran, president. Tim Tukowski, president-elect. Helen, of course, past president. Doug, treasurer. Tony Rochelle would be joining the team as secretary, and Peter Farsai as technology officer. And these will be the board of directors. Let's talk for just a moment about the sponsors who make these programs possible. Sensibility Sanfilippo is a platinum sponsor, and they're public accountants and business advisors represented by Tim Tukowski. We have a couple of gold sponsors, First Citizens Bank and Five Star Bank. Our silver sponsors are Chicago Deferred Exchange and Golden Pacific Bank, which is based in Sacramento. And bronze sponsors, BFC, Business Finance Capital, US Bank, Exceed CE. This is a new sponsor, and they provide continuing education credit for California real estate licensees, both agents and brokers. But they have a little bit of a different twist in that their courses are aimed at commercial real estate as opposed to residential. Another exchange, PIX, and Rubicon Mortgage Fund. And our media sponsor is the San Francisco Business Times. The chapter has a number of virtual meetings every month. We have Deals and Drinks on the fourth Tuesday of the month, and a virtual mentoring session, which you're joining now. We also have a virtual chapter meeting on the second Tuesday of the month. Coming up very soon, in fact, next week, is a special session with FIA-BCI, both the Los Angeles and San Francisco chapters. And basically what this is a market overview with trends and some marketing sessions, actually, following the presentations by Helen Chong, who's going to overview Silicon Valley commercial real estate trends, and Dr. Lawrence Souza, who many of you know. He's a San Francisco Bay Area economics professor. He's also a CCIM and a consultant and advisor. This is a free session. It's October 26th from 8 in the morning to 9:30. And the reason for the early time is people are going to be joining us from around the world, actually. This is being marketed by FIA-BCI to all of its network in many different countries. So it's going to be an interesting group of people. There'll be some time for networking, and you're invited to bring your listings. Also coming up very soon, this is actually on November 4th, is a tour inside Alameda Point. We'll be looking at the current developments. There are already 100 businesses located there, and a lot more to come. We'll be doing a walking tour followed by a mixer featuring local brewery and wine companies. You can join us by registering in advance at our website, www.norcalccim.com. And we're really excited about this. The tour starts at 3 o'clock, and we expect to be finished about 4:30 or 5, at which time we'll meet for drinks and networking. And this will be only our second live event in 2 years. We had a golf tournament last month, but we think that this is a good way of launching a return to normal. And in the meantime, you can always join us on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. We also have a YouTube web channel at which we have past presentations. This one by Matt will also be loaded to YouTube. We usually need a day or two to take care of the technical aspect of that. So feel free to join us. Join our members only group on Facebook, and you'll always be in the loop. This is our 50th year for the Northern California chapter. We're the first chapter in the country, and we have about 250 brokers, asset property managers, developers, accountants, all of which combine to do about $1 billion in annual deals. And of course, behind the whole thing is the CCIM pin. It's a designation for seasoned and experienced commercial real estate practitioners, brokers, lenders. And a little bit about our mission. And we're always looking for volunteers. So if you would like to help put on programs like the one you're going to view today, or otherwise participate in intensive networking, you can feel free to volunteer by notifying any of our current or past leadership. We pride ourselves on being a very diverse chapter. And there you see some pictures of some of our past presidents. And finally, we invite you to join us. If you are a candidate or a designee, the annual dues are $175. Associate members, which are anybody who's not one of the below, $225. And that's prorated, by the way, after July 1st. So it's currently $112.50. And then, of course, sponsors. So with all of that having been said, let me turn it over to today's speaker, Matt Hager, who is a CCIM. He's also on our board of directors. He's also the program chair. And I think I'm going to leave it at that and let Matt tell you a little bit more about his experience, because it ties in very directly to his time management practices. So with that, Matt, I'm going to leave the screen share and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate the intro. I'm going to pull up a quick presentation here for everybody. Okay. We good, Terry? We can see the first page only.
Yes. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. So thank you for attending the mentoring session today. We do these each month on different topics, trying to provide value for your career, whether you're a broker or you do something else. So we're going to fly through some slides today. I'm going to try to share a lot of knowledge with you as much as I can on my experiences. I tend to put a lot of a heavy workload on my shoulders and do, frankly, too many things at once, which in order to stay sane has kind of forced me to come up with a lot of structure and systems and processes in my life, and especially in work, to save me a lot of time do things efficiently and get more done than my competitors and most people. So I'm going to share a lot of those tips and tricks with you today. I am a broker by trade, and so there is a broker component to this, but I did try to keep it as general as I could. And even if you're not a broker, I think there's a lot of things in here, no matter what you do for a living, that you should be able to take and implement in your own routine. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm the president of Intero Commercial East Bay. We're a brokerage here in the Bay Area. We have agents in the South Bay, East Bay, North Bay. We've been growing pretty rapidly. We're only a year and a half old, and we have about 15. And so we're rapidly growing, and all these things that I'm going to talk to you today are things that we implement in our office and are mandatory for the agents that work here to really set them up to succeed. Terry already talked a little bit about my background. I have my CCIM designation. I also have my master's in real estate. And then I was named one of 10 rising stars in the commercial real estate industry worldwide by the CCIM Institute. And then our brokerage here in Intero East Bay, we are pretty large. We have about 400 agents in total, and we're about 0.1% nationwide, about 150 out of 150,000. And just last September, a couple of weeks ago, we just hit $2 billion in sales for the year and should finish with about 2.6 total. So anyways, without further ado, getting into the morning routine, I think it's critical to start your day with structure and rhythm, waking up at the right time, getting going, kind of dictating your day before it starts to get crazy, before you're checking emails, before you're getting phone calls. A big theme of the meeting today is going to be this: proactive, not reactive. So if there's one thing you guys get from this, is to be more aware of the difference, first of all, and then how you can combat that. Because those who truly excel and make money are the proactive brokers. And those are the ones that are doing what needs to be done and making sure they get those done first, not reactionary or reactive, and just having everything come to them with problems or issues or whatever. And then they just go solve everyone else's problems, and they don't move the needle on the really important things. So systemizing your day is important. You want to save your brain power for important tasks. I get down very granular to a science, level on this. I don't won't go through everything, but I do a lot of stuff, that's very simple, right? Like lay out your clothes the night before. Waking up in the morning, I have like automatic lights that are on a timer in my room that slowly go up to daylight before my alarm goes off to kind of wake up. If it's cold, which we got a cold spell coming in, turn your heater on, before you wake up so that it's warm, because for me personally, if it's cold and it's dark, it's that much harder to get out of bed. Our office has a 6 a.m. accountability call as well. So our team is on a call at 6 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, just to make sure that we're up, getting started, going to the gym, whatever we need to help maximize, our odds of success during the day. So things in a morning routine example, this can vary by everyone, but there's a couple examples. Meditation is important. Anchor your mind, kind of get yourself clear and ready to tackle the day mindset. Gratitude journaling can be important. Gratitude has a lot of benefits, a lot of boosts to your brain, and it really kind of gets you in the right frame of mind to start your day. Exercise, we know how important that is. Don't think I need to talk about that, but it's really critical to get off to a good start there as well. And then goal setting and review. Why are you doing this? Why are you waking up early? Why are you exercising? Why are you, not sleeping in, which, sometimes you might want to. A reference, whether you have financial goals or you have family goals or whatever, we're all doing this for a reason. And to continually remind yourself of that will pay you a lot of dividends. So again, if you're struggling, be aware of that and add accountability if you need. Like I mentioned, we have our 6 a.m. call for our office that really helps with accountability. And we've made great strides as a group since adding that. So, find your own accountability group, either, 2 people or a group, whatever works for you. Again, this is not a one size fits all kind of thing. No more multitasking. So this is a big one. I used to do this a lot. I used to be, kind of proud of how much I could get done at once. This is a fallacy. And I would encourage you all to break this. There's a lot of scientific evidence behind this that multitasking actually makes you way more unproductive. It does not mean you're getting more things done because your brain can really only focus on one task. And when you switch back and forth, it takes some time to readjust and recalibrate. And so you're losing focus. You have to regain focus, losing focus. So you're really getting a lot less done. I would much rather have you do focused, longer periods of work. And email is a huge distraction. So we're going to talk about email in a lot of detail here soon. This is a quote directly from a scientific article. Multitasking reduces your efficiency and performance because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. When you try to do two things at once, your brain lacks the capacity to perform both tasks successfully. And research also shows that in addition to slowing you down, multitasking lowers your IQ. Multitasking lowers your IQ. You are making yourself dumber by trying to do more things at once. So please stop. Thank you. Inventory of responsibilities. Kind of starting out to do things effectively, you have to understand what you have to do, right? And so this is an example. There's all sorts of ways to do this, but this is something that all agents coming into our office fill out when they first start. We have a 16-week boot camp in our office for all incoming agents. And a lot of what you're seeing in this presentation is in week 1, which again has nothing specifically to do with commercial real estate, but it's more how to work effectively. And a lot of that just comes with the prep and setup of the structure within, what you will work. So you need to figure out everything you need to do, right? If you're a broker, everything from calling clients to prospecting, to marketing, to sending emails, to touring properties, to so on and on and on and on, right? There's all sorts of things. You need to write out every one of them and then figure out what you should be doing. What are the high value activities, right? The value, right? High, medium, low. What division. So this is like operations, finance, marketing, that kind of thing. And then should you do this or not do this? Is this totally pointless? It's not doing anything for you. Or should you delegate it? Do you have an assistant? Do you have someone that works in your office, a junior broker? If that's out of your reach right now, there's all sorts of resources right now, virtually, virtual assistants that will do things for $5, $10 an hour that can be very helpful and really move the needle for you. And so moving into the next slide that ties into this, you need to figure out what your time is worth. You need to know when you're doing activities, what your time is worth. This is a sample, and then I just put in the same stuff for the you example, but you would put in over here, whatever. You want to make 100,000, you want to make 500, $1 million, it doesn't matter. All your days off, et cetera, et cetera. If you're a broker, what a commission split would be, and it will tell you what your time is worth per hour down here. And then I make my agents in our office, they take this bottom part right here, very bottom is what I'm doing worth. This example is $242 an hour. Is what you're doing right now worth $242 an hour? If it's not, then you are falling behind and you are going to set yourself up for failure when it comes to reaching your goals. So if it is under that, you need to delegate it or not do it at all. If you start doing this alone right here and understanding what you should be spending your time on, you will make huge strides in your business. So now that you've done your inventory, you know what you're supposed to be doing and you know what your time is worth, you need to figure out how to do it, which goes into time blocking. This is an example. Obviously, it's just a blank. There's a lot of ways to fill this out. Again, it's what works for you. Say if you're a broker, one of the most important things that you can do is jump on the phones. So you should be doing that for several hours a day. So that's something that would be an example of time blocking. So maybe you do that from 10 to 12 a.m. Every do time block 10 to 12, 10 to 12. And you would have that in your calendar, like set in stone, basically, unless you had something really, really important that you should be doing elsewhere. You should not, sacrifice that appointment. That is an appointment with yourself and you need to keep it. You need to have the accountability and the discipline to show up for it, because that's the move the needle activity that is very important for you and your career. Or maybe researching property is another one. There's all sorts of things, but calling is kind of the holy grail if you're a broker. So I put that in as an example. So set boundaries and systems to work within your email, you will go crazy. And so a couple tips going through this, and I'm going to go through these in more detail. Your inbox, you need to analyze what you have. If you don't need it, this particular email is unimportant to you, just delete it right away before you start going to the important ones. And if it's some email list or something that you don't want to be a part of, don't just delete it every day. Delete, right? Just unsubscribe. Go and unsubscribe so you're not getting it anymore. Because if you just delete it, you're just kicking the can down the road and you're not really doing anything productive because you're going to get another email from them tomorrow, right? So unsubscribe and be a little more proactive, right? Not reactive. Also, email should say before we go too far, this is the ultimate definition of proactive versus reactive, right? Email is 100% reactive because every time you get an email, it's from someone else coming to your inbox trying to get your attention. Every email you get is someone wanting something from you, right? And I'm not saying that that's bad necessarily. I'm not saying obviously you can't just ignore every request that someone wants, but you need to understand that, and you need to understand how that works within your workflow. Because if you're not calling because you're checking email, right? Back to the distraction and the multitasking. These emails come in every 5 minutes here, 15 minutes, every 1 minute, whatever. And you try to get focused on something, and then you keep getting email dings, you get nothing done. So you need to put that aside. And we're going to talk more about how to do that with email. Keyboard shortcuts are a big one too. If any of you have Gmail, which I'm guessing a lot of you do, and there's also, a bunch of the other major platforms have it also. There's add-ins and plugins and all sorts of stuff. You need to be using keyboard shortcuts to navigate your email. If you're still using a mouse to go through your email, you're way behind. It is so much easier to use a keyboard. You'd use the arrows to go up, down through your inbox, press enter to open one. You can reply, you can forward, you can folder it, put it away, save it for later. You should be using that, and that'll save you probably 50 hours a year in productivity time just by using that. Folders, I'm sure a lot of you use folders. I'm not going to go into a lot of this, but if you're not, you should. Your inbox should be kept at 0. If you're one of those people with 10,000 or 30,000 unread emails, first of all, I'm way OCD for that. I could never do that. But you are suffering with productivity because every time you look at your email, your brain is getting overwhelmed and you are slowing yourself down and you are costing yourself money. So I would highly recommend you get that cleaned up, and you should have folders for every deal you're working on, every property. For me, I have deals for that, for all sorts, for CCIM, for different boards or groups I'm a part of. I have one for each of my agents, managing the stuff that pertains particularly to them. Lots and lots of folders. And so do not delete an email that's important, because if you delete it, it will go away and it will never come back. But if you folder it, you will have it in a nice, neat, orderly fashion that you can reference for later. And I reference emails a lot, and it saves me a lot in a lot of ways. And also a legal standpoint too, if you're talking transactional emails, because that will come up too at some point. So Boomerang, I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but it is an excellent program. If you don't use it, I would highly recommend you get it. If you have Google Gmail, it's very easy. I think it's probably for others too. I just use it, so I'm familiar with the Gmail version. This allows you to pause your inbox, to send emails to yourself at a later date, to send things in the future to yourself or anyone else. It keeps your inbox clean. If there's something like a major project you don't want to work on right now, or you don't have the time, boomerang it to yourself tomorrow morning or the next day or whenever you're going to be ready for it, so it'll come back. Or if you want a reminder, like if you have a meeting next Tuesday at 10 o'clock and you want this email, boomerang it to yourself right before the meeting, so it shows up a half hour before your meeting. I mean, there are endless ways to use it. It is a phenomenal program, but pausing your inbox is critical. When you're on the phones, when you're doing things, the focused work, right? You need to pause your inbox. My inbox is paused most of the day. And for those of you that are having anxiety over that sort of thing and not being responsive, I deal with a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and I am very responsive, but I also pause my inbox. And I had initial anxiety where I was like, oh, people are going to think I'm a flake or this or that, or I'm ignoring them. Not one time in probably the 4 years that I've done this and the hundreds of thousands of emails I've gotten has anyone said anything about me not being responsive as it regards to this, and especially pausing an inbox. So I would encourage you to drop that anxiety, because it's not rational, and you will actually be more put together and be more responsive by doing this. You should not check your email more than like twice a day, maybe 3 times. Check in the morning, maybe when you get in. Then you should pause it, work for 3 or 4 hours, maybe check it again at lunch, check in. You'll go through really quickly. When you get it all at one time, you will be amazed at how fast you go through your email, and you will get rid of stuff. You use keyboard shortcuts, you delete the stuff that you don't care about, and then pause again, and you go right back to work. It shouldn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes to check that inbox. And then maybe again at the end of the day, and that's it. And then you have just freed up so much time in your day to do real quality work, because email is not that. This is another part of Boomerang. I talked about recurring delayed emails. We have like quarterly things or weekly things. I send myself a daily email every morning, first thing, kind of prepping myself for the day, getting the right mindset and, quotes and things like that. And then at the end of the day, a recap, making sure I've logged everything, tracked it, make sure I did the important things for my day, so on and so forth. So I would encourage you to set up your own system like that. Voice dictation is another one. I'm going to talk about that too, but that saves you a ton of time. So just going through these real quickly, we talked about them quite a bit, so we don't need to go through, but this is some keyboard shortcuts. These are the ones that are for Gmail. Don't be overwhelmed by this. You really only need like 6 or 8 of these that you can really get by. So you don't need to memorize this whole list. I certainly have not done that. So anyways, folders, right? Every deal, client, vendor, groups, associations, they should all have their own folder. If you don't need it, delete it. Don't file it. If you need it, then file it. Or if you could need it, right? Because it'll go away and be gone forever if you delete. Keep your inbox at 0. For those of you that don't do this, I would really challenge you to try to make this happen. Might be insurmountable for you. Maybe talk to me offline if you want. I'm here to help any of you through any of this, but it can be done. And then Boomerang. This is the Boomerang link here. I would strongly encourage you guys to check it out. So voice dictation, I think Microsoft Windows now has built-in dictation. I don't use it. I don't know how good it is, but you could start there because I believe it's free with your operating system. I use Dragon. I buy this over and above. It's a very good voice dictation. It integrates with, email or Word documents or whatever. I can type very fast. I could type 110, 120 words a minute, but still there's errors and frankly, it's kind of hard on my hands, all that typing and stuff. Voice dictation is much better way to go. So I send all my emails by voice dictation. So that also helps you to be thorough and to send proper emails with proper text and depth, instead of maybe sending off, if you send off really short 1 or 2 sentence emails just because you don't want to take the time to type out a proper response, you might want to look at something like this. This combined with shortcuts will save you, with keyboard shortcuts, will save you a ton of time in managing your email effectively. Weekly planning. So you cannot manage what you cannot measure. Here at Intero Commercial, we are big on tracking metrics. For us as brokers, phone calls, follow-ups, appointments, all sorts of things. I'll show you an example here in a second, but you cannot measure what you manage what you cannot measure. This is critical. This is really like broker one-on-one, and a very small percent of brokers typically actually follow through with this because it's a lot of initial work. But if you're making phone calls and you're not getting appointments or you're not getting dials, back, you won't know that if you don't track, right? So at some point, if you make 1,000 phone calls and you don't get any dials back, or you don't get any good conversations, something's not working, right? So you need to refine your script or your pitch or the time you're calling or something. But if you just make 1,000 calls and you're like, calling doesn't work, right? Or whatever, or I'm just not making money. I mean, you don't know why. You can't pinpoint it because you have no data. So this is critical for that. And it's also critical for understanding what your priorities are. So every Sunday night, we lay out this sheet and then we email it to each so that we know what the top priority. I'll show you the sheet in a minute. And then I just talked about metrics tracking, but then your top priorities as well for the week. So this is one that we use. This is from the Massimo Group, which is a coaching platform. Highly recommend. And I've done a lot of work with them and they've helped our office significantly. But this is an example for a weekly planning sheet. As you can see, there's two main categories for working on your business and working in your business. Working in your business are basically transactions, listings, escrows, tours, whatever, LOIs, that sorts of thing, direct transactional based activities. Working on your business is pretty much everything else. Marketing, strategy, financial stuff. If you're building a team, coming up with different strategies and all sorts of things like that. That is the one that most brokers that are not consistent with their pipeline, they're not consistently making money. It's because they fail to do the first one and working on. They focus on that transactional hamster wheel, if you will, and they chase deal to deal, and they're not building a business behind the scenes, which is critical to long-term success and longevity. So as you can see, calls attempted here, just some examples: calls connected, opportunities met, exclusive secured, this would be signed listing, buyer rep agreement, etc. And then presence, are you sending mail out, digital blast, email, social media, so on and so on. All right. So wrapping up here, just a couple, random tips for you. I also use Calendly to be efficient with my time. I live and die by my calendar, and everything is color coded, and I have personal calendars, work calendars. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist to me. It's all on there. And so for agents, especially, within my office, to be organized, if they have some time, they want to talk to me about something, or also even clients or other people, you go to this Calendly link and it shows the availability on my calendar. They can automatically book a time. They can set up a Zoom. It goes on their calendar. It goes on mine. It's a great program. And you don't, this gets rid of the back and forth. We've all been there, right? Oh, would you like to set up a meeting next week? Sure. What days work for you? Oh, I can do Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, well, how about 10? And how about 12? Oh, no, I can't do that. What about 3? Oh, I can't do 3. 8, 10, 12 emails back and forth just to set up a friggin' appointment. So this eliminates all of that. And it's just time wasted. It's inefficient and it doesn't work. This is a much more professional way to manage your schedule and your calendar. As I said in the beginning, but recapping, it's very important to keep an eye on this. These items that you're seeing today, this is through a lot of trial and error, a lot of changing. I mean, I'm constantly changing, as everyone close to me can attest to. I'm always trying to find a better mousetrap, if you will. I'm always making tweaks. I'm always changing my schedule, my calendar, how I do things, how I operate, just to squeak out more efficiency and to, work hard but also do well. And, because we all have a life outside of work, right? And when I come to work, I want to get as much done in as little time as possible so that I can go enjoy life. I'm not, frankly, not wanting to work till 8, 10 o'clock at night every day just because I'm unorganized and I can't manage myself effectively. So I get a lot done in a very compressed period of time due to these systems that I'm showing you. And then most importantly, right, these are examples. These are meant to hopefully bring you a lot of things to save you time. But at the same time, we're all individuals, and it's very important to do what works for you. You don't have to take everything I showed you and do it exactly as I say. Take whatever you like, or take things and modify them, right? Especially if you're not a broker, there's going to be different things you may want to change within the system, but do what works for you. Do what works for how you live your life and how you manage your schedule. And with that, I am done. So kind of went through that pretty quick, but hey, it's time management, so we're not going to delay it out. So at this point, I will open it to any questions. If anyone has anything that they've put into the chat, or if they want to jump on the mic, it's up to you. Let's see here, we can stop the screen share. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to bring up? No, nothing, not one. Oh, someone. Yes.
Hi, Matt. Yes, I do have a question.
All right.
About how many hours a day do you spend working versus, I know you've got a little boy, and I'm sure you spent some time with him and of course your wife, Megan. How do you split up your time?
Well, I almost hesitate to answer that because it's pretty low, to be honest. But I'm home by 5 most days. I'm out of the office. I have a 2-year-old, for those of you that don't know me, and that's very important to spend time with him in the evenings. I'm not on my phone. I'm not checking emails 8, 9 o'clock at night. When I'm home, I shut down. I get up, do my routine. Like I said, we have our 6 a.m. accountability call. I do all those things that I showed you, the gym, meditation, gratitude journaling. I start working 8:30, ish. It varies depending on the day. 8 to 9, something like that, I would say. And then I, work a pretty close to 40-hour, average, very much a 9 to 5 type schedule, or very close to it. I don't work weekends. I have those free, and, we've been growing this office tremendously. And, I've got, I don't know, about $60-70 million in active listings right now. So it works. It works.
I have another question, and it looks like we have 2 or 3 in the chat room. So travel, time management during travel can be a real challenge for most of us. Of course, the last 2 years, we haven't seen much in the way of travel, but I think as things return to normal, more of us are going to see more time spent in airports and commuting to airports. Do you have any tips for making that time cost effective?
So that has been something I'm not as good as at working on vacation, but I have gotten a lot better because I work too much like everything I just showed you when I'm on vacation. So it's not really a vacation, I guess is what I'm saying. I have gotten a lot better over time with that. I utilize help for myself. I have my assistant, Gina, who helps me a lot, and we work together well when I'm on vacation. And I've gotten a lot better at realizing that the world's not going to fall apart if I take a few days to myself and refresh. And I'm actually a better broker, a better manager, a better husband. I'm a better everything when I get some time to decompress. So I've forced it to be a priority in more recent years because I was definitely a bit of a workaholic earlier and I never recharged. And so basically, long story short, when I'm on vacation, if I go to Hawaii for a week or something like that, I'll usually work about an hour a day. And I will just focus on the top priorities, right? That's where the structure is very important. Understanding those top things you have to do and just doing those. So I will just work like hell for an hour, fire off my emails really quickly, do some key projects, make those 5 key phone calls I need to move a deal forward or whatever. And then I'm done. And then I check out and I go to the beach or I do whatever. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'll maybe check my email here or there because it's kind of a borderline addiction, right? But I generally will stay away and try to do the best I can to enjoy the moment and enjoy the trip.
Okay, you want to move to the chat room?
Yeah. So texting, do you find texting more efficient? That's a good question. So I would say it depends. What I have tried to do is minimize the communication channels over time because there's so many ways to talk to someone. There's email, there's phone, there's texting. And then if you throw in social media, Facebook message, LinkedIn message, all these other things, like a email or not an email, like a website lead or something. So I really try to stick to my phone and email as much as I can. If someone messages me on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm not very responsive because I don't check those normally. And I also will tell them to bring the conversation to email so that I can keep my communication channels siloed. And it helps me and it helps my sanity. And, for texting, it's a case by case on what's the most efficient way. If I have to text someone and it's really quick, like, just like a quick FYI or something where it's not a lengthy conversation, because I don't like having lengthy conversations through text. I think that's very inefficient. But if it's like, hey, just to let you know, the tenant accepted the lease, or the tenant signed the lease, or hey, they, this or that, like a quick thing that I can just send a piece of information, it's not going to carry on to a conversation, I'll probably text. But if it's something that I need to explain something, or it's more nuanced, and it warrants a conversation, I'll pick up the phone immediately, because I can probably convey it in 1-2 minutes. And then I'm done, instead of like, text back, forth, ping pong. It might take 10 or 15 minutes of texting. And then you're on your phone, and then you're back to email, or you're trying to do a project, and then you're on your phone and back to the multitasking thing. I find that to be inefficient. And so it depends. Any other questions on anything? I see some compliments, but I don't see any more questions other than that. Neil, you had your hand raised. I don't know if you have a question or not. If you do, you can put it in the chat box, or I think we can unmute you, right, Terry?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't see any more questions, so I think we're about done here. If you guys have any questions, you guys have a copy of the presentation. It's the recording will be sent out, and then you guys can email me or call me anytime, or set up a Calendly link, right?
I'm Ed. I just got unmuted here
Yes.
now. And I just wanted to compliment you and thank you. You did an excellent job. I put that in the chat too. This may be your second career being a organization coach. You'd certainly be a good mentor. I was very impressed with some of the ideas, and I look forward to reconnecting with CCIM at some point and getting a chance to have coffee with you.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that very much.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it. I don't see anything else. So thank you all for taking your time out. 45 minutes here, not even the full hour. So I hope that you all got a lot more than 45 minutes worth of time-saving information that you can kind of carry forward with you and implement into your schedules. And if you have any questions or anything, like I said, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm here to help.
Thank you very much, Matt. This was a very informative program. I've got about half a page of notes on things I'm going to do as soon as we hang up, after I check my email.
And then put it on pause, right?
Put it on pause. But while I've got you here, I think you can help me with a little commercial break. We have a CI 104 class coming up on Monday, Thursday. It's our first live course in 2 years, actually. It's going to be in San Francisco. And I remember when you took that, I guess it was about maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. You got any good things to say about 104? And of course, Bill Moore will be the instructor.
Yeah, I definitely. So, this was on working efficiently, right? But which I'm passionate about, as you can probably tell. I mean, if you're going to go to the office for 8 hours, I mean, you're there, right? So you might as well get as friggin' much done as possible instead of just wasting the day away. And that's just kind of how I feel. So I'm very passionate about education as well. You guys can probably tell when I got my CCIM designation, and then also my master's in real estate, I'm just passionate about learning and personal growth. And CCIM has been phenomenal for me. I got my pen, I think it's been 4 years now. So I probably took 104 like 5-6 years ago. It's been a while. But it was very critical to my career and really helped to elevate me and give me confidence. And, frankly, I was pretty average before I started doing CCIM, and CCIM really coincided with kind of an explosive growth pattern. And I don't think that's a coincidence. And Bill Moore is phenomenal. I took 101 and 104 with him and was just blown away by not just the CCIM content, but him too, and him as a person. And I actually still stay really close to Bill and talk to him pretty regularly. And he's actually become a good mentor of mine and helps me through a lot of stuff. And he's very successful in the real estate realm. He's a very successful individual investor. And he's a very sharp mind. And so I don't know, I know we're training like David Pio to come in and start training classes. So I don't know how much longer Bill Moore plans to teach. But if you can get into one of his classes, well, you can. I can't put a stronger endorsement on it.
Thank you for that, Matt. Just a reminder, if you are a CCIM designee, one of your member benefits is the ability to retake one of these classes, any of the core courses. I think the program is called Life with a Pin. The tuition is dirt cheap. It's like $370 for the full 4 days of training. So there's still time to sign up for that. Like I said, the course begins Monday. It's at the Embarcadero Center in San Francisco, which is convenient by BART or by boat. And you can get more information on our website. And also coming up once again is that special session on Tuesday morning. So watch your email when it's not paused for a special invitation to that. And we hope you can join us. We're looking at probably a couple hundred people from around the world joining us on Zoom webinar Tuesday. So I think with that, you used your time very efficiently. We're 10 minutes early. Any of you who want to review any of Matt's information in his charts and all that sort of thing, once again, you'll be able to access this video in a day or two. And you can get there by going to the chapter website, go into events, into your past events, and you'll see videos of most of the programs that we've put in place.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks again, Matt. And I think we'd like to have you back at some point. So you can tell us what little tweaks you've made to.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to do this on a regular basis. And it wouldn't have looked very good if I went over the hour, would it? That would have been a bit ironic. So I'm glad we ended short.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And we hope to see you on Monday or Tuesday.
Bye, everyone. Take care.